Hey guys, it's me Pinky. With this reset, All Out War will start. When All Out War will start, we will need armies, so I tried to come up with an idea what I will use as commanders. For the first few fights, because everything got reworked, in the last video I already spoke about that commanders now scale with color. In combination with that, they reworked all commanders. No commander is the same, even if they kinda do the same, like Julian is pretty close. His numbers changed. I took a look at all the commanders, and I want to point out that this will most likely not be the perfect or good solution. It's just for me to start, and the rest I will adjust on the fly based on results. Like if I see a match of mine is doing nothing, dies too fast, kills too less, whatever, it's not working good, then of course I will adjust. All this here is based on like an idea how stuff could work, but we also have the big unknown factor like resilience. You will lose resilience based on distance you cover on the map, unlike Glorious Battle where it's marching time. Here it's distance based, so even if you march faster you will still lose the same resilience as someone who takes twice the time for the same distance. And we also don't know how much of your resilience is consumed in a fight. So for example, let's say one resilience drops every 5 seconds, and then you will lose 12 resilience in a minute, which means based on how much resilience you need to get to the fight, you will be on 0 after like 5 to 8 minutes, which does not sound a lot, but if you lose one resilience every 10 seconds, then the whole loss will be a lot slower. And if you lose like one resilience every 2 seconds, you will be like coming to the front, fight 2 minutes, and then you will be dead or die like flies. Keep that in mind, especially for my idea of healing, for example. And yeah, they also brought some new stuff into the game. For example, with Selma, she is now, when she uses her skill, 90% more attack damage. So your normal hits will do 90% more damage, and your cavalry attack will rise. So you will do, I don't know, twice or a bit more than twice of your damage when Selma procs. Skill damage mostly got reduced. Like when we talk about Julian, I think he had something double of this at least, and now he has 625 and a debuff. But I think this is a good thing, because in Siege of Winterfell you were always going in, everyone got destroyed in like a heartbeat. Like you got, your enemy got, everyone was killing each other very quickly, and because of this you had to heal a lot. So if they take down the skill damage, which was a huge factor of this in Siege of Winterfell, maybe we will have more fights, less healing, which would be good, at least longer fights. So like I said, I will try to cover everything from the cheap commanders, so I will skip the 1k BD commanders. Please look at them yourself if you can fit some of them in. Like for example, my Daenerys does 5 times 400 skill damage, so she does 2k, and she gives back 200 rage to everyone. 2k is more than everyone else I have can do, so a blue Daenerys would be worth it for me, for example. But it's hard to cover all the possible colors, so I will just skip them. So we have some kind of, let's call it normal attack improvement. Like I was showing Selma, my idea for the first fight will be Selma, because she gives me cast stats, I will be cast. She gives me cavalry attack 1800%, so there she's even better. And she gives me 90% more damage. I will combine her with a Rhea, because she also gives 90% more damage. Hopefully this stacks, so when both proc I will have 180% more damage from the normal attacks. She also gives me cavalry attack. Sadly her proc will be infantry. To them I will add Jaime, because Jaime gives you a bit of total attack, sadly not a lot, but he gives you a 30% chance to crit, and the crit will be 200% damage, so the normal attack damage when both proc and will crit. crit will be 380%, which sounds kinda strong, and I think it's worth it for this to not get a lot of stats from Jaime. Here's the first thing, this is maybe not good, so it's possible I will switch out Jaime quite soon and just take Lyanna, because Lyanna gives me a lot of cavalry stats, will give me cavalry stat by proccing, and will help me to deal with spears. Based on how good it performs or not, I will start with switching out Jaime. You can do the same concept if you are spears or infantry. Of course, with spears it's already better. Then you take, for example, Rhea, you take Patello, because Patello, Rhea and Selma are the same commander, just with different stats. You also have like Haley and Varys that do kind of the same. See, Haley gives you 60% more damage, nothing else, so it's not as good, I think. And Varys lets your enemy get 30% more damage, so he's kinda also a support for this. And if you do it with infantry, for example, you take Rhea, you take Patello, and then take Jaime, and yeah, if Jaime does not work, you just switch in Andrea, for example. And as spears, you can do Jaime, Miranda, and Patello if the combination of Jaime, Selma, and Patello is not as strong. So this would be my normal attack plus march. My second idea will be a skill damage march, where you will see a lot of commanders are alike, so I won't really talk about how to adjust this to other lines, because you can find out yourself pretty quickly. So first commander for me will be Enzo, because he gives a lot of cavalry stats. He does skill damage attack and gives me a bit of defense when he procs. A bit is good, 1800 is a lot. By the way, here again, Drake and Lutz are the same as Enzo. Then I would most likely add in Zac, because Zac just gives you another 700 damage skill attack, which is pretty good, based on what else you can get as skill attacks. And my third commander will be Jean, because if Jean procs, all your skill damage gets multiplied by 60%. So you will just do 60% more damage. This will be my idea of a skill match. And of course you can adjust this with, for example, in my case, if you feel you need a bit of cav stats and cav proc also, you could take Winton for Zac. And yeah, there are quite a few commanders with skill damage. My third match will be a healer match, which has the idea of like supporting everyone else, because I think if everyone does this, it's a good thing. A bit of the problem is that the both AoE healers are Sansa and Marjorie. I don't have a golden Marjorie, so I will take Sansa, just because she heals 5 targets. And I will take Annie to heal my healer match, so my healer match can heal longer and will stay in the fight longer. This will be supported by Layla, just because Layla gives me a bit of cavalry stats. She gives me a cavalry proc, which is pretty strong, and she has the chance of 35% to activate skills twice. So for example, Sansa can heal twice, which will just give me a bigger support opportunity. You could also add Layla with almost every other match if you want, but for me in depth I'm not one of the strongest players, so I can live with being a bit more supportive, and because of this I want to like buff up my healing match somehow, and this is the idea of how to get more heal. If you have a better Marjorie than me, I would recommend you to get Marjorie. Like, for example, if she heals with a healing coefficient of 300, which she should do with Purple, for sure, then you heal 1500, like any 1200. So Marjorie, even in the bad color, will most likely be better than Annie. Quite soon. And yeah, this will be like my healing match. You can go fully for stats, so like you would combine something like Enzo with Layla and then with Lyanna and try to get the highest cavalry attack possible, or the highest cavalry stats possible, but I'm not sure how good it is. But it could be that this is the way to go in the future. Make 3 matches, 3 different troop types, and then just go monotype buffing as good as possible. Also, there are a lot of commanders that just give stats. which you can fit in if you don't have a good option as a healer or as a skill damage, or to buff up your attack even more, or whatever. The reason why I would go Cav is because my refinement is Cav heavy, and I would advise everyone to do the same. If you have an infantry refinement, go inf. If you have a spear refinement, go spears. If you have a bow refinement, go bows. There's also one last idea of like troop comp I would like to talk about, which is some kind of a debuff march. So it's a like support march, not like a healer. It's a support march to try to snipe the enemy strong players and try to take them down. There's Egbert, who reduces the rage recovery, so your enemy will use less skills. Like this, he will get less buffs, will get less activations, will get less healing, whatever. Just you slow them down. Then we have Kevin, which will reduce the normal attack damage dealt by the target troops by 80%. Basically, the idea is Egbert drains the rage and Kevin drains the normal attacks. So you try to lock down someone. And then it's bit based on how many people will heal. I think Tyrion will be very strong because he gives you a debuff that will take out enemy people from healing for 5 seconds. You can just lock down strong people from healing and then try to debuff them even more. That is not working. You could add in the Night King, maybe even on green. Depends a bit on if you can recover 700 rage in 10 seconds, then, well, he will basically take the enemy for 10% of the time from doing something. If you have a lot of people that use active skills, Raymond could be very strong because he will forbid the enemy from using active skills for a few seconds. So it's like a silence. And every time Raymond is up, he will just deny the enemy for a few seconds. Also, if we have a lot of these lockdown debuff marches, you might want to have Simon in some of your armies, because he will remove all control status effects from your troops for 5 troops. And will make them immune for 3 seconds, so you can just remove debuffs. But yeah, I will start with the first 3 armies, and then like just on the fly. If healing is bad, I will try lockdown march. If I see something not working, I will switch out some commanders. So I hope you have an idea how to set it up.